Good morning to those of you who are present here and to those of you who are following us on our social network from the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture, ICA. We welcome you warmly. My name is Patricio de la Giovanna. I'm Magister in International Relations, specialized in the green development, sustainable green development, and currently I'm a specialized consultant for youth for this institution. At ICA, we understand the youth as priority players to be able to foster new ways to work and see agriculture. For ICA, agriculture is the youth is the present, not just the future. That's why we are here today to presenting the Hemispheric Community of Rural Youth. Today we'll have the presence of Mr. Lloyd Day, Deputy Director General of this institution, Federico Villarreal, Director of the Technical Cooperation Department of the Institute, and also with our team from our program of gender equity and youth, whose representation today is held by Priscila Zúñiga Villalobos and the specialist in the area, Ms. Mariela Zúñiga. We'll also have the presentation by Nelly Herman, President of the Next Generation Agricultural Impact Network, GIN, and of course, a team of young people whose work may be highlighted because it is for and in favor of the youth in the Americas. Among them, Sebastián Pedraza Páez from Colombia for the Andean region, Alpha Sinon from Trinidad and Tobago for the Caribbean region, Carmen Salas Moya from Costa Rica for the Central region, Nora Cristina Reyes Nucamendi from Mexico for the Northern region, and Francisca Neri from Brazil for the Southern region. So without further ado, we would like to welcome the Deputy Director General of the Institute, Mr. Lloyd Day. Go ahead, Lloyd, the floor is yours. Thank you very much, Patricio.
It is a pleasure to welcome you on behalf of ICA's Director General, Dr. Manuel Otero, to this important event launching the Hemispheric Community of Rural Youth. At ICA, working with youth is not just a transversal priority in all of our technical cooperation, but along with gender, it is now its own program as well. This program was approved by the Ministers of Agriculture of the Americas last month, and we are now in the first steps of its programmatic activity. In a few minutes, my ICA colleagues will take you through the platform that has been developed, which is the result of a competition we held last year so that this community was created by you, so that it belongs to you, the youth of the Americas. It is really terrific, so I will not say too much more, but I will encourage you to use it to help make it better and to help us make it serve you. It is created by and for you. Today is the International Day of Youth as designated by the United Nations. So it's a perfect day for us to launch this community with all of our partners and you, the youth of the Americas. The issue of youth in farming is so important to us because of the issues you are all well aware of. Worldwide, the age of farmers is increasing and the need to regenerate the agricultural sector is going to lie in the hands of a younger generation. I think that is a good thing, as it will bring new energy and talents and skills to agriculture. But there are many challenges: the cost of land, the hard work, multiple requirements, regulations, certifications, just compensation, the allure of migration to cities or to foreign lands, in general, more attractive economic opportunities. The combination of these factors drives rural youth to the cities and to pursue their dreams, or sometimes just to survive. Some of this can be mitigated by a variety of programs and policies to incentivize youth to stay on the farm and to seek opportunities in the agricultural sector, to transform the technology and capacities from research and innovation to the rural communities. There is no magic solution for these challenges. It will take trial and error, just like farming, just like research, in order to find the policies and programs and incentives to address this challenge. So this must be a fundamental priority for this hemispheric community. By working together to build this community, to share opportunities, education, innovation, information about you, information about your farms and ranches and best practices, we can start building the momentum to demonstrate how agriculture can be an attractive economic opportunity and a fulfilling career. We at ICA are so grateful for our strategic partners that are here with us today because they exemplify exactly that. Innovation, opportunity, a community of youth, and a commitment to the development of youth in this hemisphere and around the world. With all of you, we can build the leadership programs that will help the youth of today both stay in agriculture and lead the transition to a more sustainable, productive, modern agriculture in the Americas. I have had the pleasure of meeting with young farmers from around the world just a few weeks ago here in Ica with a visit of Engine, the Next Generation Agricultural Impact Network. It is wonderful to meet so many bright, young, motivated men and women. This is a very exciting time to be involved in agriculture. Food security is front and center in the global policy debate. And the question of how to feed the world with an increasing population and environmental challenges is the issue of the day. Thankfully, new tools are being created every day to help us farm better, greener, smarter, more precisely. We are growing more with less. The convergence between the ingenuity in agritech and other industries such as genomics, for example, with the needs of the planet to produce more sustainably is generating even more innovation. We need the youth of today to help lead this new global coalition in sustainable productivity by actively participating in the field of agriculture and by actively participating in this hemispheric community. During the last month, and thanks to the brilliant scientific minds that helped so rapidly create the vaccines that we are all taking to protect us from the COVID pandemic, I've had the opportunity to start traveling again and talking to different audiences about agriculture in the Americas and the important developments that science is bringing to the field. While doing so, I've been reflecting a bit about the individual who founded ICA, and through his leadership, innovations, and the policies he implemented helped another individual save the world. Those two men are Henry Wallace, ICA's founder, and Norman Borlaug, the father of the Green Revolution. Henry Wallace brought to the Americas hybrid corn in the 1920s. That, along with other innovations such as the tractor and fertilizer, helped drive a revolution in American agriculture and then throughout the world. Later, working with the Rockefeller Foundation and as Vice President of the United States, Wallace commissioned 4 young Americans in their early 30s to travel to Mexico to work on improving wheat, corn, and beans so that Mexico could feed itself. Little did he know he would eventually be leading to innovations that would feed the whole world and protect it from famine. Norman Borlaug was one of those young Americans, 30 years old at the time, who worked with young Mexicans across the country from north and south to develop new strains of wheat that were resistant to stem rust. In doing so, Dr. Borlaug and these young Mexicans also created a much more productive variety of wheat that led to the Green Revolution in Mexico, throughout all of the Americas, and eventually across the ocean to India and Pakistan, and saved the lives of nearly 2 billion human beings from famine during the last century. For this, Dr. Borlaug was awarded the Nobel Prize. Well, it's time for a new generation of young scientists and farmers to change the world. The challenges before us in many cases are the same: rapidly evolving and adapting and transforming pests, weeds, fungi, and weather conditions. But now, with the changing climate and the scarcity of inputs, the world is being presented with bigger challenges than ever before. But I'm confident that the youth of today will step up to meet them just like they did in the past. I am hopeful that this new community will be the start of something great that will hopefully have among its members the next leaders to take the Americas and the world forward to overcome the challenges of the day. I wish you all great success in this new hemispheric community. Once again, I thank all of our partners for their support and participation. But I mostly thank the young people who are with us today for their energy, their ideas, their dedication to agriculture and to each other. I'm optimistic about the future, especially when I look in your eyes. Best wishes. Thank you.
Muchas gracias por sus palabras.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lloyd Day, Deputy Director General of ICA. And now we will be presenting a video in which a number of our most important partners have participated in the creation of the Hemispheric community of rural youth, and without whom the development of this community wouldn't have been possible. Go ahead with the video, please. Greetings to everyone. My name is Priscila Zúñiga, and I am the coordinator of the Gender Equity and Youth Program of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA. We at the Institute would like to commemorate International Youth Day with you on August 12th by honoring the young people of the Americas who dedicate their lives to agriculture. It is for and with them that we work every day, because at ICA, we believe in youth. They are not only the future, but also the present. And as agents for development, we must work together now. The Hemispheric community of rural youth is a clear representation of this vision. And in order to achieve these objectives, we at ICA are joining forces with our strategic partners, whom we introduce as follows.
And its team of next-generation dedicated specialists has been nothing short of excellent. The Institute is committed to the next generations that are an essential part of creating a sustainable future that is strongly rooted in rural and agricultural realities. The establishment of this hemispheric community is another very meaningful step forward to raise youth voices in this vast, diverse, and inspiring region that contributes substantially to feeding the world.
Hi there, everybody. I just wanted to show my appreciation in the fact that from My For Nature, we really appreciate that young people are in the driver's seat actually designing the hemispheric community for rural. That is young people who are doing this for young people. They know best what is needed to create perspective, and that they're looking at rural areas, which is, I think, the biggest challenges for landscapes in the world at this moment, where young people can find perspective on creating growth that I For Nature wants to.
The experience in this process of creating the hemispheric community of rural youth has been very satisfactory, since I have noticed the active participation of many direct actors representing these regions. At Universidad Creativa, we believe in the future, and a future with opportunities for all. Thank you very much for involving us in this process. For us, at Zamorano University, it has been a pleasure to participate in events and activities of the Hemispheric Community of Rural Youth, led by ICA. We found it very interesting to be involved in the development of proposals, analysis, and discussion of issues of great relevance to the rural sector, which has been led by you, the youth. We are at your disposal, and it is a pleasure to continue collaborating in this initiative. Congratulations young people, and we invite you to continue in this process. Many thanks to our strategic allies and to the youth who have made possible the creation of the Hemispheric community of rural youth.
Gracias. Queremos agradecer.
Thank you. We would like to thank all of our partners, Bayer, Con Ronald Gendel, and Beatriz Avidrieta, together with Next Generation Agricultural Impact Network, or ENGINE, with the special support of its chairwoman, Nelly Herman Valente. And we also would like to thank I for Nature with Sander Bex and Senfotech and its team. Thank you also to the Zamorano University, to the 4-H group, to University Creativa, through Leonardo Correa, the Latin American Organization for Agricultural Entrepreneurs and Youth, OLAG, and the Alliance for the Entrepreneurship and Innovation, AEI. And without you, this would not have been possible. Now, we would like to give the floor to Ms. Mariela Zúñiga, specialist, technical specialist of the Gender Equity and Youth Program, as she will be in charge of giving us a tour of the webpage of the Hemispheric Community of Rural Youth. Go ahead, Mariela. Thank you very much, Patricio. Greetings to those who are here in this room, those of you who are joining me at the main table, and also the panel members who are here via Zoom and those who are following us via our social networks. I work at the Gender Equity and Youth Program of ICA, and today we are celebrating the International Youth Day, and we have the pleasure of launching the Hemispheric Community of Rural Youth. For all of us, it is a great honor to have worked in the creation of this tool to be closer to the youth of the Americas. As a specialist of the program, it is a great satisfaction to be able to present this initiative that we have developed with much joy. Before beginning, I would like to thank the team of the Gender Equity and Youth Program for your effort and dedication. Also, we would like to thank the company Ticosoft, who made our proposals and ideas real for the development of this platform. Thanks to Sergio Navarro, Isaac Zúñiga from Communication, Olman Castro, Guillermo Solís, Ricardo Fallas, and Adriana Pizar from ITC. I would also like ICT, sorry, Federico Villarreal, also our Director for Technical Cooperation. Thank you for your unconditional support in each initiative. And last but not least, we would like to thank the youth. Thank you. Thanks to them, we are gathered here today celebrating the launching of this community. Without further ado, I'm going to present the platform. Today, we are completing a process in a successful way. In this process, the youth have been protagonists. So these are youth connected for the well-being of the rurality that belongs to all. We would like to highlight that this platform is for and by and for the youth. And that's why it is very important for all of us for you to belong to it. We are going to start by reviewing some of the background of how this platform was created. In general, we had a number of actions undertaken to know the views, the needs, and the challenges that the youth had in agriculture related to technical cooperation and ICA's endeavors. In 2020, let's remember that this was a historical year because of the pandemic, and we started a number of fora, hemispheric fora, regional fora, where we obtained and were able to listen to the voice of the youth, what they were telling us, what they were needing. So within these needs, they told us that they needed a room to be able to share and somehow be interconnected. That's how we develop a conceptual challenge. In this challenge, we had a winning idea thanks to the Radio Rural team that provides the basic guidelines to be able to make this platform a reality. Then in 2021, we started with the hackathon of rural youth. And here the idea was to turn this winning idea into something more concrete. And as we can see in 2022, this idea and this proposal is now a concrete reality through the platform. This is the first official image of the platform. This is the home page, the main page. And the first thing we want to do is for you to go into juventudesrurales.iica.int so that you can go inside and register and take a look at it. Next one, please. On this same homepage, we will also be able to have access to articles developed by the Institute, articles related to rural youth. Today, we will have the participation of Francisca Neri, who very recently was nominated Leader of the Rurality of the Institute. But we will also have a content guide. A content guide, and this is a quick way to be able to see all the different sections that make up the platform. As you can see, we have a catalog, we have a fora section, news and articles, and community. And we'll show those to you in a minute. The site has 4 main sections. Which are they? The first one is the community, where it shows who we are and our project. We have the next section, which is to grow. Grow is a place where the seeds get spreaded so that skills and projects can germinate. Here we do the analogy with everything that we do in terms of agriculture. Irrigating, that's where we foster the exchange of experiences and knowledge among the youth. And finally, we have harvest, which is a bridge so that the youth can provide their products and their services. So let's begin and let's take a look at each of these sections. First, we have the one that I mentioned before, community. Here we have who we are. We find also the project and the participants. In growing, we have news and articles, scholarships, and internships. We, in this section, can find a number of articles with which the youth of the Americas may be protagonist of the actions at ICA. But we also would like to tell you that the Institute has a scholarship and an internship programs. And here the youth will have the opportunity to nominate themselves for the scholarships or to participate in the internship program. Then we have the part of irrigation, where we have 2 subsections, the forum and the incubator. The forum is an area where we'll find topics for discussion, exchange of ideas, experiences, and opinions among the youth of the Americas. And here we would also like to tell you that it is important for us to register so that we can participate and propose topics and generate some healthy discussion. Then we have the incubator, and the incubator is the area in which you can publish ideas for projects and socialize them to have a greater reach and opportunity to fulfill them. Well, we move to the next one. Thank you. We have harvest. And as I was saying, this section is our kind of a star or key sections within our community. Harvest will give a room to the youth to offer their products and services, as I was saying before. This section is aimed at generating some space for people to share their entrepreneurial ideas and through a catalog to promote the exchange of products. We will tell you more about this in a moment. And that's what we have in this slide. As I was telling you, this platform has two key categories. First, we have the catalog for products and services, and then the ideas incubator. In the catalog, we will be able to find a number of products that are offered by the youth as primary products and byproducts, transform products, production services, and trade services. So all these products that are offered within this catalog will be classified under this main ideas that I mentioned. The ideas for this is to be a space that may serve as a bridge for the youth that may have some sort of entrepreneurial activity and so that they can find a place to offer products. The incubator has to do with entrepreneur efforts that need to be supported. Here we have an image of how we can find a catalog for products and services within the community. As you can see, this is based on catalogs, and we will find all the different products offered by the youth. Finally, we would also like to mention other key elements that we have included in the platform and that we want to share with you. First, we'll find a reference to experiences of people who belong to the community. We'll be able to see a short biography and a picture of the person. Here we need to register to become part of the community. We can also find or visualize the strategic alliances that we already mentioned during the event. We may also find a plugin for accessibility for people with visual disabilities. That's very significant. And the entire platform will have an inclusive approach, an inclusive language. And I mentioned too, we have the registration for users and self-management of the platform. As you can see, this is a very intuitive platform, and this allows users to navigate very easily. Another element that I would like to mention is that we can access the platform from a computer or a cell phone or any other device we may have. Again, we hope that you like what we've done. And this is something that started through a participatory effort by all the youth from the hemisphere to develop these two phases that were mentioned at the beginning, and those were the foundations for the community that I just presented. If you had any questions or comments, we urge you to write to genero.juventudes@ica.int. Thank you very much to all of our strategic partners once again for supporting us, for enabling us, and for believing in this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Mariela, a project that is a reality nowadays and a great joy for ICA and for the youth in the Americas. Now, I'll give the floor to the Next Generation Agricultural Impact Network and Mrs. Nelly Herman. Nelly, floor is yours. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Mariela. What a work, what a great platform. Young people, so going to this community. Thank you to all these people that are present. in ICA. My name, you know my name. I represent Engine, a global initiative of multiple partners whose aim is to transform agriculture for the coming generations with the new generations. And ICA is one of the founder members of Engine. I'm also responsible of the global work with the new generations of leaders in the agricultural sector. And today I'm the moderator in this panel of young rural leaders, precisely in the International Day of Youth of the United Nations. Very happy. So this forum of discussion is about the role of rural youth in food safety in the Americas. The youth, since they are agents of development, play a vital role that needs to be very important in the agendas and spaces, international spaces. And this, for them to have the opportunity to position their perspectives, which excel because they are disruptive at the same time that they are transformative. 50% of the population, of the global population, is 30 or years old or even less, while the middle age of politicians at the global level is 62 years old. So in line with these global challenges, it is more and more important to listen to young voices and that we give them platforms and opportunities to the youth for them to develop their ideas as we are doing today here and in the Hemispheric community. Now, I will explain the dynamic of the conversations. I will launch two questions to the panelists. The answers will be facilitated in two rounds where each panelist will have 3 minutes, 3 minutes to provide the answer. After the interventions, we will close the panel with a closing comment, and it should not take more than 1 minute each one. And that will be used as a closing for the dialogue panelists. Respect the time. I will let you know if you are going over the time allowed. Without further ado, I'll introduce the youth that accompanies us. Each one of the five panelists represent one region of the Andean, Caribbean, Central, North, and South region. First, we have Los Sebastian Pedraza Paez, representative of the Andean region, coordinator for Latin America and the Caribbean of White Pipes. He is a young rural leader from Colombia that has worked in the development and implementation of projects that contribute to the social and rural development in different parts of his country. He is co-founder and member of the National Network of Young Rural Youth from Colombia. We have Alpha Zenon. He represents the Caribbean region. He is from Trinidad and Tobago. He is an active farmer that produces a large variety of fresh products and pepper powder can. Created of a program and founder of the White Farm, an NGO that introduces agriculture to young people and marginalized communities in his country. Representing the central region, we have Carmen Salas from Costa Rica, a student of agronomic engineering, coordinator of projects, multicultural, and textile artisan. She is a mother of three, the president for an association of people that work in union and protection of the environment by implementing practices of um, environmentally friendly practices. She is also a member of different networks of women with positions in boards of directors. As a representative of the northern region, we have Nora Cristina Reyes Lucamendi from Mexico. She has a license degree in accounting and responsible of the general accounting of Cafe Capital with great experience, 12 years of experience with the interaction with coffee growers. Currently, she is responsible of the accounting activity in the cooperative. Finally, we have Francisca Neri from the southern region, particularly concretely from Brazil. She is a secretary of family agriculture from the municipality of Betania. Recently, she was awarded with the prize Leaders of Rurality. Besides being a young rural leader, she worked hard in the field of cooperativism and associativism, and she is directly involved with with ICA's project in Brazil through a partnership with the state of Piauí and Hunan. Welcome, everybody. Okay, once introduce our young panelists in this forum about the role of rural youth and food safety in the Americas. Let's begin with the first question. So, remind the panelists that you have a maximum time to answer the question. So the time you have is 3 minutes. So let's begin with Sebastian from the Andean region. In your perspective, as a young person, what are the main actions to go to move towards food safety, more sustainable food security? Thanks, Ika, for the invitation and welcome to celebrate the rural youth this day. I believe it is vital to have one of these young models. Young people who have a new vision, we have innovation. So the way to do agriculture is particular for us. It is vital to have different initiatives, projects, and public policies that involve us. So the implementation is important as well as in the follow-up of public policies the governments must develop to motivate young people for us to remain at the field level with the opportunity of education, opportunities to develop our ideas with co-funding. We need to develop these live projects on a proper manner. It is also vital something that I have been doing working with Weber is to generate different efforts in different sectors to generate sustainable rural development. We need the regard of the academia. We need regional organizations, organizations with young people. So all this gives us the opportunity to have these young voices that are beginning to have difficulties in accessing tools like this ones. And the last one is we are called to change the behavior that we have as the stakeholders, as young people. So we make decisions on a daily basis related to our diets, things we do, and these decisions can really affect or make a difference. So we're called and invited to change the behavior and to work together along with other young people because we are not called to work individually but on a cooperative manner. Thank you, Sebastian. Great. Now, next person, and this is Alpha. So we give the floor to the Caribbean region.
Thank you very much, Nelly. Pleasant good morning to everyone. Happy to be here. It's indeed a pleasure to be here from Trinidad and Tobago representing the Caribbean. Very interesting question. I believe that to create a more sustainable food system, more sustainable food security system, young people in particular need to be invested in practically. There's a lot of young people with great innovations, with great energies, and there seems to be a lacking in investment into these young people and capacity development where agripreneurship and training is concerned, right? Young people have great ideas, they have great innovations that are waiting to be invested on that could really change our food systems, things that could really create good impact and important impact as well across the world. I also believe that we must focus heavily as well on educating and inspiring our future nourishers, our children. For too long, even in the Caribbean region, we keep starting over. We continue to say that our young people, our young people are not interested in agriculture, but that is not the case anymore. Young people are interested. but they also need inspiration and motivation to keep going. Because think about this, these are young people who are starting a future. They want to create a career in agriculture, but then with the lack of investment, there's a lot of demotivation. And of course, we know all the challenges that exist with climate change and you know the floodings, and there's many things that happens that affect some of these agricultural farms. You know, but with great technology, and I always say that we must merge indigenous techniques with information technology and bridge that gap so that these young people could realize how our heritage, the ancestors' knowledge can be merged with innovation, with present day technology to create a well balanced system so that they could be inspired and motivated to continue their farming, right? So, again, young people brings creativity, brings innovation to the sector, but they must be invested in and they must be treated in a way that we are change makers, we are change agents towards the sector. So I will pause there. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Alpha. Now we give the floor to the Central Region with Carmen Salas Moya. Carmen, how can we achieve a more sustainable food security? Well, good morning, and thank you for the time for the space. I believe that something vital is that we need to remove from our minds this idea of generational substitution. We cannot think that we need to wait for our parents or grandparents leave their space to be able to include the youth. We need to think more on an integration, on a generational integration instead of this generational relay. We know pretty well that everything has changed, the way to produce has changed, the way the soil accepts our products and our production has changed as well. So we cannot continue thinking the same way. I believe that a vital pillar is in education. So we need to educate both our growers uh, with a little bit more knowledge, with more in all this production matters. But we also need to educate the youth. We want the young people to stay in the rurality, that they do not migrate to the cities. But if we do not educate them, or if we don't educate both parties for them to work in union, we're not going to succeed because there are two poles, and we need to merge them. We need to give this balance so together they could develop techniques, they could develop food security and effective and real food security for the condition we are experiencing nowadays. We need to change policies that ensure this traction for young people to stay in the field level. We cannot continue believing that the policies that was useful for our parents and grandparents will be useful for the current youth. We need to give them this equity, this plus for them to fall in love of the field, but also that the field assure them that they will have a future. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carmen. Let's continue with Nora Cristina Reyes Lucamendi from the Northern Region. Nora, you have the floor. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to participate in this forum. And according to Ikadara on the study in the coffee chain that was accepted in 2021, we work and there are 331,047 people representing 0.6% of the population in the city. 15,905 are men and 10,042 women. 82.73 of the population of this municipality is living in poverty. So 45.40% in extreme poverty and 25.15 in extreme poverty without access to food. According to FAO data, small growers dedicated to farming produce 80% of the world coffee production. And this is what is established in this community and this municipality I live in. And that supports millions of workers in the planet. And the the cooperative I belong to, we are 937 families that represent and 151 women, and 70% of the growers are young people, and it is vital for us. The coffee is vital to see coffee as a key element in young people. In this context, we can see that the agri-food systems is the immediate activity, meaning that the public institutions will get involved for us. In communities here is difficult to have access to credits to help and to develop the crops at the production level, and this affects uh, it seriously affects sustainability and low levels of production. Here in this region, there is a lot of volatility in the coffee prices and interface between prices and high cost. So that helps to have a low level. Although our families produce enough coffee, here the high cost weakens us to some extent. Thanks, Nora. You're done, right? Yes, thank you. Perfect. Okay, we conclude the first roundtable with the Southern region, and Francisca Nere, you have the floor.
Olá a todos que nos acompanham nesse momento. Um prazer estar aqui com vocês. Para mim, a palavra-chave hoje chama-se
Hello, everybody. My keyword here is the generation of income. We need to generate income because the youth will only remain at the field level if they can generate income. So for them to have in their tables and in the table of every Brazilian person and people in the world, food of quality, produced from agriculture, from family agriculture on a sustainable manner. And to do so, we need the young people to stay at the field level. So to stay there, we need to support these young people that want to stay there, to support the work of their parents on a differentiated manner, on a new manner, on a singular manner, from the sustainability and with a healthy food. We need to root these things on a daily basis in our life. Youth is a transformation because youth transforms every day with their daily actions, which are for the well-being of human being. So youth, rural youth needs to be really committed in the rural scenario, but our partner entities need to be committed as well because we still require more support. We have seen an amazing change already, but we know we can do more. We know our products come from family farming can get to the table of everybody. We need to reprogram ourselves and to help youth for them to take their products from family farming to the table of people. And to do so, we need to be supported with different actions that provide us the growth that we need. Social organizations are nowadays vital for this to happen. So the meeting of young people with the same purpose, the gathering of young farmers, creators that plant, that harvest, that take food to the table of people. These young people need to be more and more united, knowing themselves, sharing experiences, and planning that should exist, but it is not late to have it. So that will change many things and will help young people in both hemispheres. So we need to get united and to work hard, but we need support, the support from social organizations, from cooperatives, so associations that are vital pillars. So when the moment young people with the same objective meet, we are sure that many things will increase. Family farming and the association and the cooperatives are the future. Young people need to get involved more, but our partners need to cooperate and help us for us to be able to grow. Thank you, Francisca, and thanks everybody for your input. So we close the first question and we move to the next one. The question is, from your experience, how can the hemispheric community of rural youth contribute to generate actions aimed to work towards food safety more sustainable? Again, 3 minutes for your answer, and let's begin the other way around. Now with the southern region and Francisca, please go ahead. You again. Yes, I believe that today the community can mainly contribute with the connection with the youth, with connection of all of us that have these rich experiences, and to transfer it to others, a way to change knowledge, to take what is good and to bring what is good here. The community will play a vital role of linkage for young people and interest. All of us are interested in transforming the world, and we will do so if we can first transform our surroundings. And if we transform our surroundings and we make a cultural change and we make what we need in the world, a healthy food, and we know those who will do this food, the healthier are the rural youth, and they will do this to happen. And this is vital for our youth to have their responses, not only for Brazil, but for the whole world. So we need to expose our production. We need to submit our productions to expose coffee, cattle, to expose everything rural young people need to show in at the school level for our children to have a healthier food, to go to the field, to carry out productive activities. And this is what we need. We need links, and I believe the community can do that. The community will integrate all the young people working in the rurality for them to grow together. Thank you, Francesca. Now let's continue with Nora Cristina. Nora, go ahead. Yes, again. In my experience, I believe that the young people have a lot of capacity to prove that with working in teams, we can develop big things at the agricultural level. We need we need to involve our parents, our grandparents, and also with the way to innovate, we can move on, we can succeed. Sometimes our parents and grandparents are standardized on production methods. So we as young people, we have more capacity or other options or alternatives to develop. And as I use to repeat, we need to involve organizations, foundations that could provide us funding. Rural communities are far away from this funding because we cannot have we cannot have access to credit because we do not have collaterals, things required by financial companies. So we need foundations that could help us to develop ourselves with productive credits that we could use and to make grow our funding systems. And with that, we can have a more sustainable production. And so diversification of production system varies not only with one product. So when we have a variety, the change is pretty nice. God gave us this wealth. And here in Mexico, we have a lot of coffee. We are really lucky to have these foods. We may have also corn. So there is a diversification that we can have at the field level. So don't see us so enrooted or that we come from rural communities. Sometimes because of that, we have limitations. And we cannot have access to credit, but with the credit, we work to move on and to show a better product that we may have. Thank you, Nora. Let's continue with Carmen in the central region. Carmen, go ahead. Thank you, Nelly. In my personal experience, I believe that something very important are these spaces, these sharing spaces where we are listened. I believe that the youth sector, all of us know, and even the government, we have more openness to work in teams, to work in conjunction, to work all together, to accept what we do not know and to accept to be educated because we want to do things correctly. We have a counterpart when institutions and organizations, the government, come to support us, but under the guidelines, they are well received. But if it is us who approach them to require some kind of support or to request some particular space, and the process is bureaucratic long enough. We find many obstacles, long processes. So producing is not for years. We need to produce under climate situations, under conditions. As the colleague said, we need economic resources. We do not have access to many spaces, let's say land, let's say economy. So we need this kind of support. We need this support where we receive what we require. And to continue to have these intercultural spaces. I believe that it is not just about working in spaces with the knowledge that I have or the things that can be shared with me in my country, to say so, but the intercultural spaces where different countries from America can give me knowledge or strategies where they can tell me how they face an issue that I may have or that I'm having this time. That will help me. I cannot generate those spaces on my own. So these spaces the institutions provide us are the ones that could help us.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Now let's move to the Caribbean. Alpha, from your experience, what is the potential of the community of rural youth to generate a more sustainable food security?
I think we have a great potential. I always say that we cannot wait until university to teach our children about food security. We cannot wait until they get a PhD to learn about climate change adaptability. And now is the time for us to start this educational transformation via this platform, speaking to children, but using our agri-edutainment tools as well, because it's important that you reach the children and the young people where they are. The young people are on TikTok. The young people are on IG. Those social media platforms, you must reach them via these short videos, these communication tools. Because for too long, we keep having to start over with the education because we're not targeting children from the right age. Now, my colleague before, she said something so very important about spaces where young people can have these discussions. I so much appreciate that because sometimes you simply need to carry on by talking to another young person who's having some similar challenges, and he might be able to share, this is how I got over this, for a young person to carry on. I see young people coming into the sector. I also see young people leaving the sector. We must have, via this platform, some sort of inspiration and motivation to keep these young people, whether it may be a Plan PAL program, whether it may be something that we could connect to each other. Also very important is the culture as well, understanding the culture of agriculture in our respective countries. Culture plays such an important role. You would not believe how important it is to how someone perceives our food security. So this now, this cultural aspect, this heritage aspect must be so embedded into our platform. So we must get it right. And of course, again, I cannot emphasize more with the investment and fundraising, teaching our young people how to fundraise, how to get these investments. Sometimes it's not only money, sometimes it's the right partner that you need as well too. And as I always say, we as young people, we believe in collaboration, not competition, complementing, not reinventing. Thank you.
Gracias. Ay, me perdí en mi pantalla.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, I couldn't find my screen. Well, thank you very much, Alpha. And now we're going to close with the Andean region. Jean Sebastian, please share your thoughts with us. Well, thank you very much. I believe that this community, this Hemispheric community for rural youth has much potential. As people were saying before, it is key to gather the youth and have a space where they can discuss and exchange experiences. I believe that in our continent, we have been able to grow in terms of education and we have been taught to compete. But we do need to change the way we think and start cooperating, exchange ideas, experiences, and new ways to innovate in agriculture. We need to develop strategies to make the youth fall in love with agriculture, for them to feel interested in agriculture. We also, together with the support of other organizations, we need to turn agriculture as a sexy thing for others. So this room has great potential for that because it's led and by youth and for you, the youth. And so it is important to have innovations based on our discussions. And also something that is very important is that thanks to this initiative, like the initiative by ICA and other international organizations, I believe this can be a perfect opportunity for them to come and become part of this community, to listen to the voices of the youth, and to take these voices and these needs and everything that we'll be telling them through this platform so that this can be input for their public policies and different initiatives. We cannot allow to have more public policies without our involvement, without them listening to our needs and the things that we have been doing in the field and through our entrepreneur efforts. And so these things need to be put in practice through public policies and through the help of international organizations. This will allow to get more financing, more direct support, and share with other youth, not only from the Americas, but from the entire world. And there we can have an impact on education as well. As many of my colleague panelists were saying, it is important to have an impact on the new generations and for them to feel proud to be rural youth and for them to know that being a farmer is actually being a hero for sustainable development. So I urge you all to become part of this community, and I'm very happy that we have this new space available to us. Well, thank you very much, John Sebastian, and thank you to all the panelists. Everything you have been saying is amazing. I'm amazed by your inspiration. So since we have a little bit extra time, I'm going to give you an extra question. You need to improvise your answers. So I give you 1 minute each to answer this question. If you were to choose, or if you had to choose one area for transformation, which you believe to be the most important one to make agriculture a more attractive thing, what would it be and why? You only have 1 minute, so think about it. So let me call Alpha first.
Alpha, because I'm the first, right? I'm the beginning. No problem. Okay, thank you. So that area I would definitely choose is, of course, the rebranding of agriculture for the minds of the young people, making it very much more attractive and using more agri-edutainment tools. For example, like our superheroes that we use, AgriMan and photosynthesis. Why is because I believe that the perception, the way in which it has been branded is as though agriculture is just only a farmer. But young people want to take cocoa, they want to make it into chocolate. They want to take tomatoes, they want to make it into ketchup. So they want to add value along the entire agricultural value chain. And we can only do that by sensitizing them about the entire value chain of agriculture. Thank you.
Perfecto. Gracias.
Perfect. Thank you. Now I'll give the floor to Nora. Oh, you caught me off guard. I believe it is important to implement good practices for the diversification of products, for us to be able to involve the young people and children from very young age, for them to know that the field gives them life, gives them health, gives them everything. And we need to improve those practices from a very young age. There's no need to migrate to other countries when we have in our own country the possibility to advance, to move forward, to develop foods that may be environmentally friendly, organic, without the need to inject chemicals to our food. We can develop this, the diversification of products in the field. Thank you, Nora. Now, Francisca.
A primeira coisa que eu acredito que nós precisamos fazer é beneficiar os produtos da
Well,
agricultura familiar.
the first that we need to know is that we need to
Colocar os nossos produtos em evidência.
place
E
our
para isso a gente
products
precisa beneficiar os
and
produtos.
gather evidence, like Alpha said, and brand our products correctly so that they still have the same quality and preserving the health of people who will be consuming them. And I like a project that I did in Piauí together with my state, where farmers were listened and then they developed their specific projects. And that's what we need to do. We need to bet on the people who are in the field, listen to them, get to know what the needs of the youth are, benefit their products, and in that way, give them a chance to have their products reach the markets. We are not lacking markets. What we need is capable people to stay in the market. We have ICA here, but and ICA is here to help us, but we need to remain in the market. The communities have the organizations have helped us much. ICA is an example of how we can potentialize and show where the potential is, and feed as well, and IFAT as well. So we need to show the products, make sure that the products are in the market so that people consume them. Thank you very much, Francisca. And now Carmen's turn. Thank you very much. I think that some key attractive aspect to avoid the migration from the rural to the city is to give value to the producer, to the farmer, to the rurality, value it. I had the chance of attend a 3 month training that was called Without the Field, There's No City. We are all being fed by the rurality. And it's very sad to see how when kids were asked kids were asked where the milk come from, they say from a box. They have no idea that it comes from a cow. And for those of us in the field, that sounds crazy. But for people in the city, oftentimes they do not educate their kids, telling them that the farmer is our hero. The farmer is the one who feeds us. Thanks to the farmer, you can drink milk from a box because this person wakes up very early in the morning to milk a cow, to take care of the farm, and so on and so forth for the cities to get fed. So we need to make sure that those who are non-producers can give the right value to farmers and for them to make the youth fall in love and become that hero that feeds the cities. Wow, wonderful, amazing, awesome, well said. And now the last person who can choose it, the area for transformation would be Jan Sebastian. It's your turn, Jan Sebastian. Well, thank you. I believe that nowadays the youth have the advantage because we have access to technology. Even though it's still a challenge, oftentimes to get technology in the rural areas, oftentimes our coverage is very, very, very poor. But I still think that that's room for opportunity there. so that the youth can start using the innovations that arise and what arises from science as well, together with the ancestral knowledge of our parents and our grandparents. I think this would be an opportunity to make production more sustainable one, and also to show the products that we're developing in the field and that we're adding value, and to connect to new markets. I think that's great, and that's a great opportunity that we have. A number of youth have been doing that from different parts of the world, so I think that's a great opportunity, and the governments and institutions should foster that too. Thank you very much, John Sebastian. So that sounded like the final round, but no, we still have 1 more minute for each and every one of you to give your concluding remarks. So we knew you were going to say some truly valuable things, and we were right. So now we can close this dialogue with your closing remarks. Let's begin again with Joan Sebastian. Well, thank you very much, first of all, to ICA and all the organizers of this wonderful event. And this is a call for all the youth who are listening to us. Let's be part of this community. Let's develop our ideas. Let's discuss things. Sometimes we don't have the space to do so. In this community, we do have that space. And let's remember that we have the passion, the innovation, and we are responsible for the transformation of agri-food systems. So I call upon you so that you participate actively in this space, and let's just try to make the youth fall in love. Let's make some agriculture something sexy for the next generations. Yes, thank you very much, John Sebastian. Let's continue with Alpha.
Yeah, thank you very much to my colleagues at ICA for having me and having this very important launch of this hemispheric platform. I think it's absolutely important that we take action now. You know, as much as climate change and everything it's happening around us and it's changing, so much food and agriculture, so much the way we educate our youth, so much the way so much also be the way that we invest in our youths. You know, things are definitely changing. You know, so to all the youths who are listening there, as my colleague said, let's be part of this conversation. Let's take action together. Let's be these change makers of today, not even tomorrow, because we live in today. You know, and to my colleagues at ICA, you know, continue to help our young people take action and make sure that you know, we're not just a token, but we definitely here to build and to create the sustainable change that we need for our food systems. Thank you.
Gracias, Alpha.
Thank you, Alpha. And now, Carmen, your conclusions, please. Well, thank you very much, ICA, for this opportunity and for allowing me to be part of this wonderful team. And my colleagues, thank you so much for sharing with us your experiences. I would like to call upon the youth to come closer to the field, to become a producer, to realize that it's worth being a producer, that we can produce and move forward by being producers, that in the field is beautiful. And the institutions and the government, I would like to ask them to please the youth, listen to the youth. And not just listen to the youth, but put yourselves in their shoes. We are undergoing a very difficult transition moment in which the youth have the knowledge, they want to do things, but maybe they are not being given that opportunity to implement these things. Don't leave us alone, please. We need you to accompany us, but let us do the things as well. So thank you very much for this opportunity. This community is going to be truly helpful, and thank you very much. Go ahead, let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Let's continue with Nora, please. Thank you. My time has arrived. So first of all, I want to thank ICA for the participation in this forum. I also want to mention the work we have been carrying out as cooperative. Café Capital comes from scratch. So we were created 4 years ago. We are working in cooperation with ICA for the last 2 years. And we also partner with the Foundation of International Conservation with them. Through them, we have achieved many things. We are a young cooperative. Our the board of directors and people working in the in the management area uh, are not over 37 years old. So young people are willing to work more than ever. Our growers, 60% of them are young people. So we see this work, this emotion to work in the rural area, to coming from scratch and to achieve big things is a great satisfaction for me, a pretty good one. And the cooperation with institutions is pretty good, in my view, that they take into account young people. We can always move on with big things. Thank you very much. So I want to thank our panelist colleagues. Thank you. Thank you, Nora. So now, Francisca, 1 minute. Okay, so all my appreciation to ICA and to all those who help and listen, young people, and that endorse the causes of the rural field. If the rural area is not producing, the city is not going to move forward. So we need to continue being committed. We are committed. We need to work for the collectivity, and this is what we're doing. This is a call for young people to react and to continue reacting in the rural areas. That's the place. It's a place for production. We need support to place our products, products of quality that contribute to the well-being of the world. And I mean, to take food and meat, healthy meat to the table of people, quality coffee, and all this is in the agricultural hands. And if I'm proud of something in my life is about agriculture, and I also want to contribute with the families around me for them to grow in the rural environment, for them to have a better life. Thank you, Francisca, and thanks everybody in the forum, in today's forums, accompanying the launch of the Hemispheric Community of Rural Youth from ACA, from strategic partners, and from the international community. We really thank you. So go ahead with this big work you do. 67% of world population believes in a better future, with young people from 15 to 17 years old as the most optimistic people. And in my case, I am really optimistic. Happy Youth Day. Now, we give the floor to Mrs. Priscilla Zúñiga Villalobos, coordinator of the Gender Equity and Youth Program, for her to give us her conclusion words for this forum. Go ahead, Priscilla. Floor is yours, and thank you. Thanks to you, Nelly. We really thank you for this, for sharing this. We are really grateful with you, dear panelists. Your contribution has been amazing. And for us, you are a reference framework to start working and working on a joint manner. Uh, Today, the International Youth Day from ICA, we recognize the contribution both young men and young women and contribute to the agri-food systems. So that is why today, as you know, we wanted to talk about this role that the youth have in for the safety of the Americas. And that's why in this space, I would like to remind the main messages, position, and the messages that will guide us to continue working on a joint manner. So let's remember what our Deputy Director Lloyd Dale told us. He reminded us how the combination of different factors, such as the high cost of land, the many requirements, the existence of many regulation certificates and some opportunities, some economic opportunities that are more appealing than the ones offered by the rural area make youth to follow their dreams and to abandon or to cities on one hand, or just by looking opportunities that let the youth to continue surviving. So here is where our deputy director says that it is necessary to mitigate and motivate a variety of programs and public policies to motivate, to encourage youth to stay in this in the agricultural sector, and also that they have opportunities to remain in the rural area. As some panelists mentioned, as well as our deputy director, we need to use technology that that we invest to strengthen the capacities to do research and to innovate in rural communities. I also want to highlight some of the words mentioned by Nelly. Nelly reminds us that young people are represent some 50% in the world are less than 30 years old. So she invited us to be agents of development, that we position our perspectives, and also that we generate disruptive and transforming actions in the sector. I want to make a short summary, but all the ideas have been wonderful. So it is always a commitment try to highlight ideas among so many lines of actions that are so interesting. But I would like to highlight that part of the comments mentioned here to have more sustainable foods, it is the need to articulate with sectors to generate public policies where we young people can participate, to be a voice and not just that they act without us, to generate innovation in agriculture, and from this innovation to obtain the possibility to get funding for our ideas and credit access, for us to be able to develop proposals and ideas or projects on an innovative manner. Also, you panelists, you made a call upon the need to work in education, to raise awareness using training and information processes. And a very powerful message that I really loved is we need to have to make a generational integration. We are not the future. We are working from now in actions aimed to generate these transformations. So besides these messages, I would like to highlight some of the messages made by each one of you. Sebastian told us we have new ideas on agriculture. We need to work on a cooperative manner instead of in an individually. And so it says that we cannot allow more public policies without us, the young people. We need to be heroes in agriculture. Also, respecting this knowledge, this old knowledge, and to have opportunities, so a combination that is really valuable. We cannot ignore experience, but we need to make a combination between experience and innovation. Likewise, Alpha told us that we need to invest in young people. We need to develop their capacities, their projects, their growth, educate and raise awareness to people from early years. We need to cooperate to have interconnection networks, knowledge through tools such as these platforms. And another sentence from Alpha that I really loved, let's take action. This is very important. Likewise, Carmen said, we need to remove this idea of the generational relay. We need to make a generational integration. I took the sentence from her. I will interiorize this sentence from now on, Carmen. We need dialogue spaces to participate in decision-making processes, to give value to rurality, to avoid migrations. And because of training Carmen had, she said, without the rural area, there is no city. The rural area fit all of us. Let's give us to, let's let us to contribute. Nora says we need support investment in young people to develop our projects. We need to create from the diversification and not just from monocrops. We need conditions to avoid migrating to other countries. Francisca finally mentioned that the youth are transformation. We need to be committed in the rural area. Well, let's wait for people in the rural areas to learn about their needs, to train them to remain active in the market, to empower, to enhance their knowledge. Let's grow together. Let's work for the collectivity. Today, in the International Youth Day, she says this is a call for youth to be in the rural areas, and this is the right place where we need to produce. As our specialist Mariela mentioned, Mariela told us we want to be next to the youth in the Americas. It is important to remember that in ICA, we believe in you, in your leadership, and in your potential. And that's why with this community that we are creating, when we mention when we told you that we will work through three big messages, grow, irrigate, and harvest. What does this represent? It represents a big opportunity to work on a joint manner by planting leaderships, irrigating actions and ideas, and harvesting fruits for our actions and ideas to have big results. Let's work in community. This is a message to close. Let's reinforce our leadership. Let's share opportunities, good practices, and also let's remember that this is our time to make big transformations, aim to build and generate better conditions in the agri-food systems. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to give the floor to our Director of Technical Cooperation, Federico Villarreal, for the closing remarks. Go ahead, Federico. Thank you, Priscilla, for giving me the floor. Okay, in principle, I would like to congratulate the whole team that made possible going through this way towards the community. And I want to thank the team for the effort, for the real commitment to organize these activities and to concrete what is a reality nowadays, which is the hemispheric community. I want to thank our sponsors, Fire, Alliance for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Infotech, University for AIDS, Zamorano, Creative University, Innovation for Nutrition as well. So initially, I want to congratulate and thank. These are two very important messages. Also to highlight somehow the meaning of the International Youth Day. In principle, the aim by identifying one day is to make visible the importance of the youth. It is a day to celebrate, to recognize, and to make visible, essentially. And here I'll take data mentioned by Nelly, statistics that I didn't know. In principle, the ones that she mentions at the beginning about the ages where the political decision spaces are. And finally, optimism, where the optimism is. Optimism that translates and transition to the world all of us want to get to. They are also a clear indicator of the reality we are experiencing and of the need that this day, International Youth Day, becomes more and more relevant and acquires more visibility and importance. I believe that in the same line, today is a day to celebrate, to make visible, to show, and to begin new things, to start new things. It is a beginning day that we need to take and to use. The community and according to the excellent intervention of Priscilla, and that you talk about the community, they need to grow, irrigate, and harvest. The homology of all this which is evident and logic with agricultural processes associated to the life processes. The need to grow, to cultivate, or to irrigate to be able to harvest. From ICA, we are committed for a while to the need to create spaces. The community is a space. I come from geography and I have some professional deformations in that regard. Spaces can be created, but we need to occupy them. Otherwise, this is going to be occupied by others. So the space is there, the community exists. Now we need to occupy this space. We need to give it life. And this is the commitment of all of us. And ICA cannot do this alone. Young people need to do it. So we may create the spaces. And as it was mentioned in different manners, in the excellent interventions of Sebastian, Nora, Alpha, Carmen, and Francisca, and Priscilla's summary. So I insist we may create the spaces, but the young people are the ones that need to occupy this space by, or from a cooperative perspective, by being proactive, by being transmitter, by being disruptive, by being innovative. In summary, by playing a little role in this space. I'm not going to lie, telling you that this is going to be easy. It is not. Clearly, it is not. I repeat that statistic. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It cannot be done just by young people. It cannot be done just by ICA. We need to do this on a cooperation. And this is also a big challenge. I believe we can face it, but we must do it. We need to do it. Finally, a final message related to geography. Geography is related to the space we move, where we move, and the spaces and the time. Today, the big majority present here are young people. Soon you're not going to be young anymore. Do not forget that you were young. Do not forget the importance of the young people, because integration may start today, that it is important that this is a clear constitution of the future all of us want to live in. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Federico. Thank you, Priscilla, for your words. And we also want to thank those who have been present, supporting us in the launch of this Hemispheric community of our youth in this special day, a celebration day. I also want to thank our strategic partners. I want to thank young people present here, as well as the Deputy General of ICA, Mr. Lloyd. To you all, thank you and welcome to this community. Now I invite you to work united. Have a nice day.
Don Fred.
Eso debería ser doncitos, somos don y doñas.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, thank you.